Have you ever looked into the eyes of a complete stranger and felt the entire world stop? I am not talking about physical attraction, and I'm certainly not talking about love at first sight in the romantic sense. I am speaking of a jolt, an electric shock that runs down your spine and tells you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that you know this person. You know them not from this life, not from your neighborhood, and perhaps not even from this planet. It is a moment of absolute, terrifying clarity where the veil of forgetfulness momentarily drops, and for a split second, you remember who you really are. If you have experienced this profound, silent communication, this specific frequency of eye contact, you're not imagining it. You're not making it up. You're experiencing one of the most powerful activation mechanisms discussed in the deep, metaphysical work of Dolores Cannon. This phenomenon is not a coincidence. It is a signal. It is a pre-arranged trigger that you agreed to before you ever incarnated into this heavy, dense 3D reality. Throughout her career, spanning over 40 years of regressive hypnotherapy, Dolores Cannon uncovered a truth that changes everything we think we know about human relationships. She found that many of the souls currently on Earth, especially those of you watching this right now, are not originally from here. You are the volunteers. You are the beings who heard the call to come and save Earth from destroying itself. But the mission came with a very steep price. You had to forget. You had to have your memory wiped clean to enter the density of this biological suit. And the fear has always been, how will I remember my mission? How will I find my team when I am down there in the dark? The answer lies in the eyes. The eyes are not just the windows to the soul, they are the energetic QR codes of your galactic lineage. When you lock eyes with a member of your star family, a biological and energetic lock and key mechanism is activated. Dolores often spoke about the isolation of the volunteer. She described how so many of her subjects felt a deep, aching loneliness, a feeling that they were dropped off on the wrong planet, that their biological family was strange to them, and that they were waiting for someone to come and take them home. This loneliness is the hallmark of the starseed. You walk through life feeling like an observer, watching humanity with a mix of confusion and compassion, but never quite feeling like you are of this world. You mask your true vibration to fit in, to survive, to keep the peace. But you cannot hide it from your own kind. This is why that specific eye contact is so startling. It bypasses the mask. It bypasses the personality, the ego, and the social conditioning. It pierces straight through to the core frequency of your soul. When you meet a member of your soul group or your star family, your physical bodies react before your logical mind can catch up. You might feel a sudden rush of heat, a feeling of vertigo, or an inexplicable urge to cry. This is the cellular memory waking up. It is the frequency of home vibrating between two vessels. In the work of the 3 waves of volunteers, Dolores explained that you are not here to suffer alone. You were sent in waves, and you were sent in groups. However, to cover more ground, to anchor the light into the darkest corners of the planet, you were often separated geographically from your soul group. You were strategically placed in family lines that needed heavy karmic clearing, or in locations where the vibration was incredibly low so that your mere presence could raise the frequency. But now, the timeline is shifting. We are rapidly approaching the critical juncture that Dolores called the separation of the worlds. The energies of 2026 and beyond are forcing a magnetic reunion of these soul groups. The time of the lone wolf is over. The eye contact secret is that your soul has a specific signature, a light code that is broadcast through the iris. When you look at someone and you feel that lack of barriers, that instant feeling of, oh, there you are, I have been looking for you, you have located a coordinate of your mission. This is not about romance, although it can manifest that way. This is about mission alignment. It is about the recall of the contract. The problem, and the reason so many of you are suffering right now, is that you are misinterpreting this signal. You feel this intensity with someone, this recognition, and because we are conditioned by Hollywood and 3D programming, you immediately try to fit it into the box of a relationship. You try to date them, possess them, or fix them. And often, because the energy is so high and the connection so ungrounded, it explodes. It becomes the runner-chaser dynamic. It becomes the twin flame nightmare. You assume that because the eye contact was so profound, they must be the one. But from the perspective of the subconscious, that massive part of the mind Dolores communicated with, the purpose of the meeting was not to start a picket fence life. The purpose was the activation itself. They looked at you to wake you up. They looked at you to remind you that you are not crazy, that you are not just a human struggling to pay bills, but a multidimensional being on a service mission. But what happens when that person, the one who holds the other half of that recognition code, is not awake? What happens when you see them, but they are still deep in the sleep of the matrix? This is the painful paradox that breaks the hearts of so many starseeds. You recognize them, but they look at you with fear. They feel the power of the connection, but instead of leaning in, they run. They run because your light is too bright. Your gaze reflects the truth they are running from. This rejection can send you into a spiral of doubt, making you question your intuition and your sanity. But you must understand the mechanics of why this happens. You must understand what is actually occurring in the invisible spectrum when your eyes meet theirs. To understand why this happens, we must dive deeper into the mechanics of the soul, as revealed in Dolores Cannon's The Convoluted Universe series. Dolores discovered that on the spirit side, before we enter these physical bodies, communication does not happen through words. There is no English, no Spanish, no French. There is only the instantaneous transfer of concepts and images. It is telepathic, and it is complete. You understand the entirety of another being instantly. When you enter the physical body, you are forced to use the clumsy, slow mechanism of language, which often dilutes the truth. However, the eyes retain a remnant of that higher dimensional capability. They remain a direct fiber optic link to the soul's energy field. When you lock eyes with a member of your star family, you are momentarily bypassing the limitations of the 3D body and reverting to your natural state of communication. For that split second, a massive data dump occurs. It is an energetic download. You are exchanging light codes, packets of information regarding your mission, your status, and your awakening level. This is why it feels so intense. Your physical nervous system is trying to process a gigabyte of multidimensional information in a millisecond. If the other person is not spiritually mature enough to handle that voltage, their circuit breaker trips. They feel the power, but they interpret it as danger, or they feel an overwhelming vulnerability that their ego cannot tolerate. Dolores also introduced a concept that is controversial but essential to understand in this context: the concept of the backdrop people. In her sessions, she was told that not every person walking the planet carries a complex individual soul spark in the same way you do. Some are part of the holographic matrix, essentially extras in the movie of life, placed here to maintain the illusion of a populated world. This explains why you can look into the eyes of some people and see a flatness, a lack of depth, or a feeling that no one is home. You feel no resonance, no spark. This is not to judge them or view them as lesser, but to understand the physics of your reality. The contrast between a backdrop person and a member of your star family is what makes the recognition so shocking. When you meet your star family, you are meeting a being who carries the same home frequency as you. Imagine you are a radio tuned to a very specific rare station. For years, you only hear static or other stations that don't quite make sense to you. Then suddenly, you tune into another radio playing your song. The resonance is undeniable. This resonance is the eye contact secret. It is the universe confirming that you are on the right path. But here is the critical pivot point that you must grasp. This meeting was not accidental. In the pre-birth planning sessions, which Dolores chronicled extensively, you sat with these souls. You looked at the timeline of Earth, specifically targeting the window of 2020 to 2030, the years of the Great Shift. You knew that the density of Earth would be so heavy that you might get lost in the amnesia. You might get stuck in the wheel of karma, so you set up safety nets. You agreed with certain souls from your cluster. When I am 30 years old, or when I am at my lowest point, or when the world seems to be falling apart, I will cross your path. We will look at each other, and that look will be the trigger. This contract is binding. The person who triggers you might be a lover, a teacher, or even a brief encounter in a grocery store, who you never see again. The duration of the physical relationship is irrelevant to the success of the spiritual contract. The success was the activation itself. Did you wake up? Did you remember you have a purpose? Then the contract was fulfilled. Many of you are stuck in the grief of separation because you are trying to drag a 5D contract into a 3D relationship model. You are asking, why aren't they texting me? Why did they ghost me? While your higher self is shouting, wake up. The connection served its purpose. The pain you feel is the friction between your ego's desire for possession and your soul's desire for ascension. This eye contact was meant to shake you out of your slumber, to raise your vibration so high that you could no longer fit into your old life. And if you are honest with yourself, looking back at the moment you met them, did your life not change? Did you not start seeking, reading, and questioning reality? That was the point. Furthermore, these star family recognitions are accelerating. As the vibration of the Earth rises, what we call the Schumann resonance, the veil is thinning. We are seeing through each other. You can no longer hide your frequency. This is why relationships based on lies or superficial connections are crumbling right now. They cannot sustain the new energy. Only truth can survive in the higher frequencies. When you look into the eyes of a star family member, you are seeing a reflection of the new Earth. You are seeing the potential of what humanity is becoming, transparent, telepathic, and connected by the heart center. You are being asked to stop looking for validation in the external world and start recognizing the divinity in the mirror. The star family member was a mirror. They showed you your own light, and perhaps they showed you your own shadow. If they ran from you, they were running from their own light. If they hurt you, they showed you where you still need to heal your own worthiness wounds. This is the master class of spiritual growth. You are not a victim of a failed romance. You are a graduate of a high-level soul activation. The question now is, what do you do with this energy? Now that you have been activated, now that your eyes have seen the truth, how do you prepare for what is coming next? This brings us to the most critical aspect of the message, the part that involves your immediate future and the timeline of the new Earth. We are currently navigating the powerful energies that Dolores predicted would occur during the splitting of the worlds. She spoke frequently of a time when the Earth would separate into two distinct frequencies, the old Earth mired in chaos, fear, and heavy karma, and the new Earth, a place of love, compassion, and instant manifestation. The year 2026 marks a significant acceleration point in the separation. The eye contact you have experienced with your star family is the precursor to how we will all communicate on the new Earth. It was a training simulation. You must understand that in the fifth dimension, you cannot hide your thoughts or your intentions. Telepathy is the standard. The reason you felt that shocking exposure when you looked into their eyes is that you were momentarily experiencing 5D consciousness while standing in a 3D body. It felt intense because you were not used to being so seen, so known, and so naked in your truth. So, what is the solution? How do you move forward if you have found this connection but lost the person? You must realize that the relationship was never the goal. The frequency was the goal. You are being asked to hold that vibration of unconditional love without needing the physical presence of the other person to sustain it. This is the hardest test for a starseed. Can you be a lighthouse if no ships are coming into the harbor? Can you shine that light even if the person who sparked it has walked away into the darkness? If you chase them, if you lower your vibration to match their fear, you are anchoring yourself to the old earth. You are getting off the elevator to the fifth dimension because you are trying to drag someone with you who is not ready to ascend. Dolores was very clear about the law of free will. It is the prime directive of this universe. You cannot force anyone, not even your twin flame or your closest soul family member, to wake up. If they choose to stay in the density, if they choose to look away from your light because it is too blinding, you must love them enough to let them go. You must respect their soul's choice to learn through more lessons of 3D density. Your mission is to maintain the frequency. When you feel the pain of separation, transmute it. Say to yourself, I am grateful for the activation. I now know what home feels like, and I will become that home for myself. By doing this, you become a magnet. You stop chasing, and you start attracting. As we move deeper into this shift, you will find that more and more people will meet your gaze. You will find your tribe. The ones who are meant to walk with you into the new earth will not run away. They will look into your eyes, and they will stay. They will say, I see you, and they will not blink. We are building a new grid of consciousness around this planet. Every time you make that soul-deep eye contact with a stranger and you smile, you are strengthening that grid. You are weaving the fabric of the new earth. Do not underestimate the power of your gaze. You carry the codes of the stars in your iris. You are a transducer of cosmic energy. When you look at someone with love, you are literally beaming high-frequency gamma waves into their field. You are healing them even if you never speak a word. This is why you came here. You did not come for the picket fence and the mortgage. You came to be a system buster. You came to look at this world with eyes of truth and transform it. The loneliness you have felt your entire life is evaporating because the veil is lifting. You are remembering, you are waking up, and you are realizing that you were never truly alone. You were just stationed at a different post, waiting for the signal. The signal has been sent. The time is now. If this message resonated with your soul, if you felt that shiver of recognition, then you are part of this family. You are one of the ones Dolores spoke of. Do not go back to sleep. The world needs your eyes wide open. Join us as we anchor this new frequency. Subscribe to this channel to lock in your intention to be a citizen of the new earth. We are finding each other, one set of eyes at a time. Welcome home.